Hello everyone and welcome again to my channel. In this special video, I'm going to talk about conditionals. What is a conditional sentence? Conditional sentence is formed by the conjunction if plus the conditional clause plus the main consequence sentence, which is the main clause. I don't know if you all have an idea that we have 4 types of conditionals. I'm going to cover and highlight every single type of these conditionals and will show you some example sentences to be able to comprehend the lesson totally and properly. So please don't go away and stick till the end. Starting now with zero conditional. What is zero conditional and how do we use it? So as you can see, that is the first type of conditionals. We use zero conditionals to talk about things that are always true. For example, a scientific fact. So it's something true, exactly true. Let's see the structure of this specific type. So in this specific type, we have to use the conjunction word if plus the verb in the present simple form, and that's what we call the conditional sentence. So here, the conditional sentence, and then we have the main consequence in the present simple form. So that's the main consequence. Okay, so let's see an example. If you freeze water, it turns into ice. So if you freeze water, it turns into ice. So it's a fact. It's a scientific fact, but it's something very factual, as you can see. So we have the present simple here, and we have the present simple on the other hand. Another example. If I'm late for dinner, they start eating without me. So it's like a fact, as you can see. If you do this, they would do this. If they do this, they do this, not would. So if they do, that happens. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like factual. That's the easiest conditionals. We always use it, by the way, in our daily sentences. For example, if you talk with someone, even if you don't speak English very well, we always unintentionally use zero conditionals in our speaking because it's very easy to express or to use in our sentences or in our speaking. Moving now to the second type of conditionals, and that's what we call first conditional. How do we use first conditionals? We use first conditionals to talk about real possibilities in the present or in the future. Let's see the structure. So we use the conjunction if. The conditional sentence will be in the present simple. However, the main consequence will be in simple future. Okay, let's see an example. If it rains, I will stay at home. Another example. If you study hard, you will pass your exams. So that's the future. If you do this, this will happen. It's quite easy as well. So you might notice, or you might have noticed, that zero conditionals and first conditionals are quite often used in our daily speaking or in our daily sentences. They are very simple to use. I'm just trying to highlight this. However, we have a complex type of conditionals, and these type of conditionals that I'm going to explain in a bit are very useful to be used in your writing essays. Let's jump to it. Here is our third type of conditionals. That is second conditional. How do we use the second conditional? We use second conditional to talk about imaginary situations in the present or in the future. Let's move to the structure before I jump more into details. So in this specific conditional, we use the conjunction if plus the conditional sentence in the past simple form, and then we have the consequence in the present conditional. Have you ever heard of the present conditional? That's where we use would plus the infinitive form of verb. That means the original form of verb. Okay, so that's the structure of second conditionals. Now let's move to the examples. The first one, if I won $1 million, so that's the past simple, if I won $1 million, I would buy a new car. Okay, so we have the past simple as you can see here, and we have the present conditional, which is would plus the infinitive form of verb. Before I move to the other sentences, what is a second conditional again? So if we are thinking about a particular condition in the future and the result of this condition, so we are only thinking about, as I told you, a particular condition in the future and the result of this condition. However, there is no possibility that this condition will happen. What does it mean? It's like a dream, not very true, but it's still possible. Did you get what I'm saying? So that's why if I won $1 million, I would buy a new car. They would stay longer if they had more time. If I were you, I would quit smoking. So as you can see in this specific sentence, we have where. You can't say if I was you. So the verb to be in the second conditional is where, not was. So we have to say where. So that's the verb to be in here. Okay? So you can't say if I was you. No, if I were you, I would do this. Okay? So it's not complicated as you can see. So it's a beautiful term, or it's a beautiful actually condition that we can always use in our sentences. Moving now to a more challenging one, which is the third conditional. How do we use the third conditional? We use third conditionals to talk about imaginary situations, however, in the past. Let's see the structure. So we have the conjunction word if plus the conditional sentence in the past perfect, and then we have the consequent sentence in the perfect conditional. What is perfect conditional? In the perfect conditional, we use would plus have plus the past participle. So it's quite close to the present perfect continuous, however, or actually to the present perfect simple, but we have would here. Okay, let's jump into an example. If I had got a gold medal, I would have been happy. So as you can see, we have the past perfect in here and we have the perfect conditional here. But let's explain again, how do we use or how do we apply the third conditional if you want to mention it or to use it in your sentences. If you want, for example, to talk about a particular condition in the past, so it's in the past that did not happen and there is no possibility for this to happen. So it's like a dream, but there is no possibility of the dream coming true. Okay, so you are having a dream, but no way it's gonna happen. So if I had got a gold medal, I would have been happy, but that actually did not happen. It didn't happen at all. You haven't got the gold medal, and that's why you weren't happy. So as you can see, you need to follow the verb tenses in here. So you have if is actually connected or is associated with the past perfect, and then the other half of the sentence has to be in the perfect conditional. And by the way, you can change the order of the sentence, it's fine. As you can see, for example, here, they start in the second conditional, they start with the present conditional and then they use the past simple. So it's fine, it's totally okay. You can use or you can change the order of the sentence as long as you are keeping the same overall meaning. Now let's jump into another example. So we have, if the weather had been good, we would have gone skiing. If the weather had been good, we would have gone skiing. We would have gone skiing. So it's like a particular thing in the past, it didn't happen. So the weather wasn't good, apparently. So the weather, it wasn't good. So as you can see, it's a particular situation in the past that did not happen, that did not occur. And there's no possibility of this coming true. So we would have gone skiing, but actually we didn't go skiing. Okay, so you might find it a bit complicated, but trust me, if you try to actually focus again on the verb tenses here, and if you read as much as you can of these sentences, try to focus and concentrate on these sentences, you would find them very easy to use when you speak. By the way, if you use the second conditional and the third conditional in your speaking, you would sound fluently, especially for the candidates who apply for IELTS test, for example, or any test that requires speaking. When you speak these sentences with these amazing verb tenses, you would show to the examiner that you are able and proficient to speak confidently, and then you would actually gain a lot of marks. Okay, so confidence is very important in speaking, and these sentences are definitely a helper in this matter. Moving now to the last part of conditionals, and that is mixed conditional. As you can see, mixed conditional is composed of two sorts or two categories. We have the first one, A and B. I'm going now to start talking and explaining the first type, A, which is present result of a past condition. So this type of mixed conditional refers to an unreal past condition and its probable result in the present. So that is the meaning of the specific type, which is A. How do we use it? Let's see the structure. We have if plus the past perfect plus the present conditional, as you can see. That's how we use it. Do you remember the present conditional? I have just talked about it, which is would plus the infinitive form of verb. Let's jump into an example. So if we had looked at the map, we wouldn't be lost. If I had looked at the map, we wouldn't be lost. The second one, if I had studied, I would have my driving license, but I didn't study and I don't have my driving license now. So as you can see, it's an unreal present situation. Okay, so we have here the past simple and we have the the present conditional. Okay, so I didn't study and that's why I don't have my driving license. Another example, if I had learned to ski, I might be on the slopes right now. If I had learned, but I didn't learn how to ski, and so that's why I can't be on the slopes right now. You might be noticing that we actually use might. We can use might, by the way, instead of would. Okay, so would and might are quite often used in this specific type of mixed conditional. Okay, so it's quite easy, as I told you, and we use it also quite often in our daily sentences to help express the very specific meaning of a story you are telling or of a situation that has been happened or been occurred some time ago. Okay, so it's very important to learn how to use this specific type of mixed conditional. Now let's move to the second type of mixed conditional, which actually talks about a past result of a present or continuing action. So this specific type of conditional refers to an unreal present situation and its probable but unreal present result or past result, sorry. So let me repeat again. So the specific conditional refers to an unreal present situation, and it's a probable but not real past result. Let's see. So first, let me just highlight the structure where we use the conjunction word if plus the verb in the past simple form, okay? So as you can see, that's what we call the conditional sentence, if you remember. And then we have the perfect conditional in the consequence sentence as usual. Okay, so we have the if associated with the past simple, and then we have the consequence sentence in the present in the perfect conditional. Do you remember the perfect conditional again? I've just talked about it when we use the would plus have plus the verb in the past participle form. Let's jump into an example. If I wasn't afraid of spiders, I would have picked it up. But as you can see, the first half of the sentence where we actually have the conjunction if, it says if I wasn't afraid of spiders. But this refers to an unreal present situation because actually I'm afraid of spiders. But the other half of the sentence that says I would have picked it up, but that actually refers to an unreal past situation or condition because I didn't pick it up. So as you can see, this one might be quite complicated for you to comprehend, but it's quite easy. So let's just imagine that a situation that could happen in the past, but it didn't happen. So that's an unreal present situation because it says if I wasn't afraid of spiders, but I'm afraid of spiders. So that's an unreal present situation. I would have picked it up, but I didn't pick it up. So that's an unreal past condition, okay, or past situation. So try to think that way to be able to use this, to be able to use this specific form of sentences in your speaking or when you write. Let's jump into another example. I would. So here it's I would. So I would have been able to translate the letter if my Italian was better. So I would have been able to translate the letter if my Italian was better. But actually my Italian is not good. So as you can see, this refers to an unreal present situation because I don't speak a good Italian. And it says here, I would have been able to translate, but actually I didn't translate. So it's an unreal past situation. Moving now to the last sentence. If I was a good cook, I would have invited them to lunch. So if I was a good cook, but I'm not a good cook, so it's an unreal past or an unreal present situation because I don't cook well. I would have invited them to lunch. However, I didn't invite them for lunch. So I did not invite them to lunch because, so as you can see, this refers, that half of the sentence refers to an unreal past condition or past situation. Okay? So as you can see, I want you to focus, a lot on these two types, A and B, of mixed conditionals. If you learn how to use them in your sentences, and you will show that you are able to speak fluently and confidently. So try to utilize them and take advantage of the usage and the structure of these sentences when you speak or when you write. It's quiz time now. As you can see, we have 3 questions on the table right here. All what you have to do is reading all the questions and selecting the right answer or the right choice for every single question. So I try to go back to the video and watch all the conditionals. 0 conditional, first conditional, second, third, and mixed conditionals. So try to check them again to be able to answer all these questions correctly. I want you please to write down all the answers in the comment section below to be able to reply to each of you individually. That's the end. Thank you so much for joining me in this specific video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and activate the bell button to be able to receive all my upcoming videos. I wish you all the best and I look forward to seeing you again on my platform.